Thursday, June 9th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. I'm meteorologist Matthew East here with you, and more heat and humidity on the way today, and only some subtle day-to-day changes through the weekend. But I do see some indications of at least a temporary pattern shift next week. I'll get into that in today's edition of the video. We'll also discuss the tropics and where the next area to watch for signs of tropical development might be. Let's start off with the radar imagery this morning, and you have a cold front still stretching from the northeast into the Great Lakes region back into the plains, and along and near that front you have some clusters of rain and thunderstorm activity in that general area. And that front has a well-defined temperature gradient along it. I'll show you the temps in just a second. Storm reports over the past 24 hours, that's Wednesday and Wednesday night. Good clustering of storms over the northeastern part of the country, also the Midwest, and just some scattered activity when you get down into the higher terrain elevations there of North Carolina and South Carolina, then some scattered activity in the lower Mississippi Valley region. Now, in terms of temperatures, there you go. You have places that were in the triple digits earlier this week, such as Minneapolis, sitting in the 50s right now. Even some 40s here in parts of the northern plains and back into the Rocky Mountain region, but still a lot of 70s and 80s ahead of that front. Another day of heat in many, many places coming up today. Now, remember yesterday we had that ridging, that closed upper air high sitting over the Carolinas region. That beginning to break down just a bit, and in fact I mentioned that possibility of a pattern change for next week. This is what the European model prints out by Wednesday morning, and that's a pretty well-defined trough right along the East Coast, and really a lot of the modeling is on board with that scenario. Let's look at today. More heat and humidity here in the Carolinas. I think Piedmont highs up into the mid-90s, and again, like yesterday, could be some upper 90s mixed in, and I do think there'll be a few isolated afternoon storms develop. Here's what the WRF prints out here, the RPM model, and notice it does have a pretty decent coverage of some thunderstorms popping up late this afternoon and into this evening. So I do think there'll be a few of them out there. Let's go on into tomorrow, and again I think some at least an isolated coverage of afternoon storms pops up during the heating of the day. Highs tomorrow still at least in the low to mid 90s, so still a pretty hot day, and we'll keep those highs at least in the low 90s through Saturday and Sunday. GFS doesn't have a whole lot of precip there on Saturday, but again I think there'll be some scattered afternoon storms. Same deal Sunday as that cold front gradually slides through the area. And then we get behind the front, and there might be one more little complex of storms to move through maybe Monday night into Tuesday. A lot of the modeling develops a little wave along that front that should be parked somewhere from Tennessee into South Carolina, and that could spread another round of some showers and storms on in. But behind that is when we have the chance to get some cooler air in place. In fact, we might see some mid-80s for highs and low 60s for lows, and a lot of sun with fairly low humidity by the middle part of next week. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up just yet, but there's a chance of that. All right, shifting gears into the tropics. No areas highlighted by the Tropical Prediction Center or the National Hurricane Center here for signs of tropical development, but I do think we have an area to watch. What's going on here is out in the Atlantic and then draped toward the Bahamas and the Greater Antilles, you have an old frontal boundary, and you have to watch these stalled fronts as they get over the very warm waters early in the season, especially for signs of development. And I think right here around the Bahamas, that's going to be the area to watch for signs of any development. The NAM does indeed pop something up from that area and lifts it north by Sunday morning. This is a look at the Canadian model, and this is out 84 hours in time. So again, this is late in the weekend. It brings that possible development up north just off the Carolina coast. And finally, the NOGAPS model, same general idea. So some of the modeling is popping a weak low pressure area and lifting it up in the general direction of the Carolina coast by Sunday or Monday. Not saying that's going to happen, but again, that's the area to watch, probably the Bahamas and around the Greater Antilles overall. All right, that is it for today. Thanks for watching here on this Thursday. Have a great day, and God bless.